Okay, just a quick book, some book reviews here. I just got this book from Trine Day, and it's a travel book about the growing influence of China around the world, and it gets into the secret society connections to the growth of the Communist Party with the Skull and Bones, and how that's connected to drug smuggling. So it's going to be a good book. I like travel books. That's my favorite genre, because it's a lot cheaper than actually traveling. And so this looks like a well-written book, and he's obviously concerned about the growth of the Chinese as an empire, like with military power, and if they're gonna invade Taiwan. And actually, my buddy from high school, whose parents were from Taiwan, and he moved back to Taiwan, and he made a great documentary, sort of like playing on the Western paranoia about the Chinese population exploding and spreading around the world. And he gets into that too. He's got a map of like the growth of the Chinese population around the world. So you know, it's like, well, there's some racism just like inherent to that concern, but anyway, it's gonna be a fascinating read. And next we have the Qigong Master Jim Nance and his wife Naomi, who I met before. Actually, I know too much about the making of this book. I was actually asked to help out in making this book, so I gave it a speed read, and of course I'm looking forward to reading it word for word. But as I'm reading it, I'm like, oh, he left out that part of his life. And but it's very well written, and this is like a super inspiring book, because Qigong Master Jim Nance, he trained 12 hours a day in full lotus meditation as the assistant of Chun Lin. So Qigong Master Jim Nance was helping teach the Qigong classes and do healing. And I first met him in 1999, so 26 years ago. Actually, it was in 2000 that I met him, so 25 years ago. And no, it might have been 1999. Anyway, kind of far back there. So yeah, actually, he personally taught me as well for a couple of years, and so I paid him for that. And well, he asked me to pay him because he was teaching me. He also was doing healing on me, and he's done healing on my mom as well, long distance healing. My mom had barely been able to walk because of some anti-seizure medication she was on, and after he did a healing on her while she was asleep, and he was in his house talking to me on the phone, and then the next morning she had so much energy, she walked a quarter mile And I never said anything to her about it until like a week later. I never talked to her about it. We had gone to the Qigong Center for practice healing, that he was offering free sample healings, and those had helped. So, she was already trying to get the Qigong healing. So, yeah, I have, I could write a whole book about my experiences with Qigong Master Jim Nance and Chun-Yi Lin, but of course, I need to respect their privacy, and let them share what they want to share. So there's that. And then, this is a critique of Christianity by a PhD guy who started out as identifying as a Taoist when he was a teenager and when he joined the military. And so this is going to be, I've been listening to his talks on YouTube. He's got 1,000 talks. He has a blog. He also blogs. And so this will be excellent. Just analysis of Christianity in the context of other global religions, and just critiquing the claims of Christianity. But I pointed out, I already posted a video on what he says about Taoism. I think is actually, it's valid to a certain extent, but it's also a little bit too dismissive. Just encouraging him to take a deeper dive into the science of religion, essentially, as a philosophy, as a practice of philosophy. But anyway, it's still, I respect his research. He does great research, and he has a mythicist view about. He says that there's like a 1 in 3 chance that Jesus was an actual historical person, but that's his whole critique of what was the origin of Christianity. Was Jesus actually a person? Sorry, I'm not getting focus on the phone here. Okay, so then we have Gangster Planet. In this book, I just started reading. When where being connected means never having to say you're sorry. Now, this author is somebody who passed on a couple of years ago, and I had corresponded with him a couple times through email, and I actually ordered all of his books and DVDs when he was living. When I was going to visit relatives in Florida, because his previous books, they focus on Florida, or his 9/11 research was about the CIA drug smuggling airports where the 9/11 terrorists were trained to fly, supposedly. And so he's building on that 9/11 research to document the same kind of drug smuggling CIA connections with these airports in Florida, and how that's tied to the current political situation with the Trump regime. There's Steve Bannon is involved in Trump in Florida, and so I just started it again. But this is very well written. There's a lot of great details, and Daniel Hopsicker, he made documentaries. He started out investigating the claims of the CIA drug smuggling in in Arkansas, with the Clinton, when Clinton was governor there. And he realized, it's a real thing. It actually was based on Barry Seal. So he wrote a book on Barry Seal, and he made a documentary about it. And he couldn't get his book published at the time. He was a mainstream business reporter. So that's how Trying Day got started. This book publisher his first book was publishing Daniel Hopsicker's book. And a couple times Daniel Hopsicker, he would ask, people to pre-order his book that he was working on. So I did that a couple times, and then I never got the whatever, he wouldn't follow up on sending out, because he's basically just self-funded, doing his self-published research essentially. And unfortunately, that's what happened with the final book. I had pre-ordered this book, and then he ended up passing on. And so then I bought it a second time from Trying Day. And yeah, so Daniel, he had personally mailed his previous books and DVDs up to me and where I'm at, and then I've took them by plane back to Florida because I wanted to give them to a relative where we were staying at. I thought my relative might be interested because he's into that whole coast to coast kind of conspiracy stuff. But he's not a big reader. He doesn't read a lot, so I don't think maybe my cousins might have read the books or looked at them at least. And of course, people don't even really watch DVDs anymore, but Daniel Hopsicker's documentaries, they are on YouTube. They got, uploaded to YouTube, so he wasn't really making any money from his DVDs, and I don't know if his books were, uploaded for free on the internet. So that's kind of makes it difficult, to make money from being a writer or a producer or whatever when people just upload it for free on the internet. So that's what I did with my research. I just upload it for free because it's easier to just, if people are interested, they can just read it for free. And you don't have to worry about trying to make money off the research because somebody's going to upload it for free anyway. And if it's free, then people don't have an excuse not to read it because most people are like, they don't want to pay money to read something. But the fact is most people don't read books. And even myself, I read everything online mainly. But I like the old school books. I like to read when it's really quiet. Usually read at night. And like I said, he's got all the details in here about the CIA drug smuggling planes and how it got covered up, and it's tied into like corruption in Mexico and how that's tied to the U.S. Supposedly helping out Mexico, with the war on drugs being fake, like controlled by the CIA drug smuggling. So it's very closely related to like Douglas Valentine's research that also was published by Trying Day on CIA drug smuggling. And Daniel Hopsicker, he talks about how he did get sued by one of the people he had outed. And so he was forced to redact any mention of that person's name in his previous book on Barry Seal. So the co-author is still alive. She helped finish this book. and she was, I don't know if they worked together. Yeah, too bad the phone's not focusing. So those are 4 new books, and I look forward to reading them more. I've been reading, I just finished Ancient Christianities, and before that I was reading Douglas Valentine's CIA as Organized Crime, and I also started reading God, an Anatomy by a professor in England who's like an archaeology professor of Bible archaeology. So that's a really great book. Yeah, so it's going to be fun, and maybe you all can pick up. I try to buy the books on, I don't like to buy books on Jeff Bezos's website if I can avoid it. So I got this directly from the publisher, from Trine Day, and I got this on from Thrift Books, which is like they sell used books also, but they sell new books. And they're selling this on from Jeff Bezos' website, but also on Barnes and Noble. And yeah, I got this from the publisher directly as well, from Trine Day. So there you go. Plenty to learn from independent scholars and journalists and spiritual masters.